Welcome back to the channel. Join us on day 2 of our 11-night Northern European cruise on the Disney Dream. On day 2, we stopped in Kiel, Germany, which was our first port stop of this itinerary. We started with breakfast from Cabanas. I don't generally love buffets, but we wanted something quick, so we grabbed a few small things from there and ordered made-to-order omelets before heading off the ship. Once you leave the cruise terminal, you'll see a blue line on the ground. This will lead you to the town center. You're also going to see a bike lane and a pedestrian lane, so make sure you're staying in the correct one. Kiel is actually a rebuilt city. It was heavily bombed during World War II, so most of the city has been rebuilt since then. Kiel is home to several different beaches on the Baltic Sea, as well as the Kiel Canal, which is one of the busiest canals in the world. If you're looking for more of like a chill beach day, there are some beaches you can visit while you're here instead. We wanted to check out the city, so that's what we decided to do. But if we would have had more time, we would have definitely visited some of the beaches. And there's also a U-boat that you can visit as well. You need to take a ferry to get to it. It's in Lebeau. Once you reach the town center, there are lots of different shops. There are larger commercial chains and some smaller boutique shops as well. We stopped at a bookshop, and it was fun to see some of the novelty items they had and some familiar titles in another language. That was kind of cool to see too. Then we decided that we needed some coffee since we didn't have any on the ship. And we found this very nice coffee shop that was actually inside of a bank. It's called Cafe 9. It was kind of oddly placed, but it was really nice. And we were happy that they were able to give us iced coffee since we were told that's something we shouldn't really expect in this part of the world that much. So we got our iced coffees and we explored more of the city. If you keep walking towards town, you'll come to the Church of St. Nikolai. This was closed for refurbishments while we were there, but it was really interesting to learn about the history of this church. It was actually bombed during World War II, and it had to be completely demolished and rebuilt because it was so unstable. The statue out front was actually removed during the war as it was considered degenerate artwork by the Nazis, and the city of Kiel then repurchased it later when they were rebuilding again in the 1950s. The statue represents triumph over evil and features an angel with a sword on a wolf. Heading back to the main area, we found this really cool candy store. We love looking at all of this interesting candy at the store. Some of it very familiar and some of it not so much. Of course, they have all of the different kinds of Kit Kat here. We also found it really funny some of the things that were marketed as American items. And this was actually something that was pretty common throughout our itinerary, as we would see a lot of things that were marketed as American that were not American. So I don't know if that's supposed to be a good thing or bad, but we found it pretty amusing. As we kept walking through the town center, we saw Woolworths, which was neat to see since that was really kind of before my time. I don't know that I've ever actually been to a Woolworths in the United States. But if you forgot anything, this would be a great place to stop and get it because the prices were really good and they have pretty much all the basics that you would need. I was a kid when they went out of business, so I don't really ever remember stepping foot in one, so it was neat to see that in Germany. In the same area, they also have TK Maxx, which is essentially what TJ Maxx is over here in the States. And we found that it was pretty similar to how TJ Maxx is set up here. A lot of the same kind of merchandise. Then we found a Primark, which probably isn't too exciting for too many people, but we have never been to one, so it was kind of exciting for us. This is another place that's great to get some things if you forgot them or maybe didn't pack appropriately. I know the weather during our cruise was really up and down, and a lot of people were kind of scrambling to find things that were maybe warmer. But if you love Disney, they had a lot of merch here for really good prices. They have shirts, sandals, they have basics if you're not looking for something Disney. If you're looking for like a cheap souvenir that's a little cheaper than something you might find on the ship, they've also got some souvenir type items. Again, I know this isn't probably a huge draw for too many people, but for us, it was just really cool to see because we don't have a Primark anywhere near us. We were excited to see some sandals because we needed them for the rainforest room. We had not remembered to pack those because I didn't even know if we'd get a pass to the rainforest room. So that was exciting because they were pretty inexpensive. And the ones on the ship were like 3 times the cost. So it was fun to find those here. This store is pretty huge. It is 3 levels. There's the main floor, the upstairs, and the downstairs. We were starting to get a bit hungry, so we decided to grab lunch. There's a bunch of places in this area, but Lowenbrow was the place that had the best reviews, so we decided to check it out. It was completely empty. We got beer and sausage, and it was all really good. The service was fantastic. We even got to meet the owner, who was super, super nice. This was a very good meal, and the prices were not bad either. I know it's not like the fanciest beer garden type places that are around, but highly recommend coming here if you happen to be at this cruise port. After lunch, we walked around town a bit more and saw there was a Starbucks, so we decided to check that out and see if they had any cool merch. It's also really neat to see what kind of things they serve. Like at this one, they had cheesecake in their bakery case, which is not something I personally have ever seen in Starbucks in the US. When we headed back out, it started pouring and we needed to find some shelter quickly, so we happened upon another book and gift shop. Since this was such a port-heavy itinerary, we decided to get a magnet in each port for our stateroom door to kind of keep track of each place that we went to, and this was the perfect place to find one. They also had other gifty items like postcards, they had more books, they had regular cards. Once the rain cleared, we headed back outside and walked a little bit more through the city. We happened upon the Europa-Platz. This area is really interesting. It was actually created from rubble left by the bombings in World War II and serves as a reminder of Kiel's resiliency. Structurally, it's just such an interesting thing to see. We also have benches and tables around here. We saw a lot of people just sitting and eating lunch, some people sitting around and working. You can also find the train station and the buses in this area, so if you did want to venture out to somewhere else, it's still fairly close to where the cruise docks, maybe about a 20-minute walk or so. After walking around a bit more, we decided to hunt down some more coffee. Yes, we love coffee and we love coffee shops, so that was something we wanted to do while we were still in town. And we found this cafe, Yorvi Cafe. They are a vegan cafe and they serve crepes and coffee. I love the decor here. I thought this was just the most beautiful little coffee shop. I could seriously decorate my house like this. Absolutely beautiful. The vibe here was super relaxed and we loved having some downtime after walking around all day. Loved the little swinging chairs. The coffee was delicious, the crepes were delicious. Even if you're not vegan, definitely recommend coming here if you're looking for just a really nice, cozy coffee shop. Everyone working there was super, super nice. Service was pretty fast. After coffee, it was time to head back to the ship, so we walked basically the same way we came. Just follow that blue line and it'll take you right back to the terminal. It's a really easy walk if you plan to explore the city on your own. We always love watching the ship sail away, so we stood on our veranda and waved goodbye to the city of Kiel. A lot of people complain that there's not really a lot to do in Kiel, and while it might not be the most exciting place, I do think that there's enough to be done if you have a shorter day. Even if you don't want to see the shops, like I said before, you can go to the beaches, you can visit the U-boat. They have some other war memorials throughout this area. The history here is pretty sad, but it is interesting to learn about, especially if you're someone who is into the war history. We stopped by Pink for a before dinner champagne cocktail and some live music, which was very fun. And then dinner was at Animator's Palette, which is always one of my favorites. On the Disney Dream, you'll get the show featuring Crush, which is pretty cute. He floats around from screen to screen and he has conversations with the guests.
Check out that front side in the aerial to the 360 front back to you. Check out all the humans that you do.
Of course, when you eat at Animator's Palette, getting the pasta prosciutto is a must. This is one of my favorite things to get on the cruises, so if they have it on the menu, highly recommend. The baked potato and cheddar cheese soup is always very good as well, and we both got the ginger teriyaki dusted Angus beef as our main. For dessert, we tried the chocolate fudge cheesecake. This was the first time I had it. It was pretty good, but I would say it's probably not my favorite cheesecake that they have. And the lemon icebox pie here is always so good. If you like lemon, definitely recommend trying this one for dessert. We ended our night with a little more live music in the atrium, saw some characters, and then came back to our room to find our little tail friend for the night. That was the end of day 2 for us on the Disney Dream. Hopefully this video has shown you what you can expect if your cruise is stopping in Kiel, Germany. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.